r/ask Reddit. Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? The Reddit search function is intentionally bad, or not purposely bad, but they know how to fix it but refuse to encourage more new posts. God, it's so awful. Unusable, I would say. I have been Redditing daily since around 2012 and it has always been bad. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. Happened around Christmas. You might be right. Not only thing that was happening, I was in there getting my laptop fixed and they were offering $150 gift card for anyone who bought a phone or laptop. Since people were buying stuff already, the extra money made AirPods a lot more affordable. I feel like I see them 5 times more often ever since the memes started, but the memes also caused me to acknowledge their existence more, so who knows? That the government made this post to see if we were onto them. Holy shit. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Google Disney Frozen you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. And don't forget about Disney on Ice too. Everyone knows Disney on Ice was created to offset the Google searches curious about going to Disneyland while high on meth. Cops go on ways and leave random police sightings to cause people to slow without actually having to stay and check on people. Michael Jordan's first retirement was actually a suspension by the NBA because of his gambling. It was to avoid a suspension. Subtle difference. Avoid a public suspension. I mean, if the league gives you the option to take a suspension or take a few years off, it's still technically the league suspending you. Goes deeper. Take a few years off to play baseball for the same owner who owned the Bulls. Reinsdorf made just as much money having him in baseball. Rob Gronkowski didn't actually injure his groin after scoring his 69th career touchdown. He just thought it would be funny appropriate. That's easily believable. MLB pitcher Brandon McCarthy retired with 69 wins and a 4.20 ERA. Truly living the dream. Lotteries are actually traps for time travelers. Stephen Hawking already held a party for time travelers, and no one showed up. If I were a time traveler, or have any magic supernatural powers, the last thing I would do is to reveal myself to the scientific community, or to anyone else for that matter. Trader Joe's makes their parking lots small on purpose to make them seem more popular than they really are, Kyle Kinane. OP asked for conspiracy theories, not facts. Mattress firms aren't only holding mattresses, buddy. I believe mattresses have huge margins, but there does seem to be an unbelievable amount of mattress stores around. There is a frame store in my town that has really weird hours, only open a few days a week. Also seems like a great opportunity for money laundering. That the CIA post this question every time so they know what the general public suspect. One of my favorites is that the government was behind Throwback Thursday in order to get us to digitize and upload pictures that they would not have had access to in order to improve age progression facial recognition algorithms. YouTube in a mobile browser is so shitty so they can force you to use the app and not use an ad blocker. This is true for most mobile sites, this one included. Not only do they want to run their ads, they want the data that an app can get compared to a website. Multiple football World Cups have been influenced either by governments hosting them, or other entities out for their own gain. 2002 South Korea, Japan and 1978 in Argentina are the two most obvious ones that come to mind. It's well known that international sports, including soccer and the Olympics, are huge septic pools of corruption. FIFA is absolutely the most corrupt organization in sports. Long John Silver's is some kind of money laundering scheme on the basis that they have been open for as long as I can remember, but I have also literally never seen a busy Long John's. Toxic delusion that I ironically entertain, perhaps? You clearly didn't grow up in a white trash family. LJS is a poor man's Red Lobster. We would eat fast food almost every night when I was growing up, and maybe once a month get LJS. It was a treat. There is a LJS near my house that I have legit never been to or seen anyone go inside of or use the drive-thru. It's been there for 10+ years, while other businesses like McDonald's and KFC have opened and closed locations within a block. The oil and coal industries invested heavily in killing off nuclear power as an attractive alternative. These days we have reactor designs many times safer than other methods of generating power, and the waste issue is something that could be fixed with sufficient investment. The government experiments on the mentally insane because no one will believe someone with that kind of medical history. I feel like people overlook the fact that the government actually did experiments on Americans and ducked at least one of them up so bad that he moved to the middle of the woods and started mailing bombs to people. Bob Vance was just trying to plug his business to the cameras every time he introduced himself. Kevin played dumb and was actually embezzling and or laundering money. When they find out the one guy from Stanford was arrested for insider trading, Kevin even says that sounds exactly like what I do every day. 100%. He gets fired and immediately owns a business. The president of the Philippines, Duterte, is very anti-drugs to hide his own involvements with drug cartels off which he makes billions. The Laurel Canyon conspiracy. Basically, if you look at the counterculture revolutionaries in the music industry in the 60s, most of them were the children of military intelligence people. So the theory is that the free love, lots of drugs movement they inspired was done intentionally to distract the youth from a full-scale revolution. The thought was if the angry youth of the mid to late 60s were too high and getting laid all the time, they would stop caring as much about societal ills and then basically sleepwalk through the 70s, which they did. I stumbled upon this when I was reading up on Jim Morrison and how his father was the one who called in the fake strike at the Gulf of Tonkin that kicked off the Vietnam War, and which was shown later to have been a false flag. Turns out, a lot of his contemporaries were also children of highly placed military people with ties to intelligence. Strange that they all wound up in Laurel Canyon as part of the same movement. Sometimes I really believe the rumor that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by her double. Other times I think it's complete BS. Depends on the day. Edited because she died in 2003, not 2001. I believe it kind of. But I don't think she died. I feel like she was just a kid who didn't want to be in the public eye anymore and made a deal with her friend. I mean, it could all be bullshit, but I could buy that more. Amelia Earhart was taken prisoner by the Japanese. Pretty sure they think a really long arm bone found on a deserted island belonged to her. Women's pants pockets are significantly smaller than men's pants pockets to encourage us to buy handbags and purses. The idea that genetic services like 23andMe may be selling records to the government and or insurance companies. There have been cases of criminals being caught with genetic information like this. Citation needed. So it's not much of a stretch that other agencies could acquire it as well. There is a pedophile ring in Hollywood government. The value of expensive art is just as a pseudo-currency for rich people to subtly buy drugs or other illicit things. I have a few I love. Kobayashi the competitive eater is really a fantastic up-close sleight of hand artist. Weather forecasters buy stock in supermarket chains and then over-exaggerate winter storms. Weather control. Shh. Can you talk more about the Kobayashi theory? Two conspiracy theorists walk into a bar. You can't tell me that was just coincidence, man. There's an underground PR firm that helps celebrities fake their own death to escape the harshness of the limelight or if they feel like their life is in danger. That is Tupac, Biggie, Paul Walker, etc. As someone who works in PR, this is an interesting thought. Where do you think they go afterwards? A secret island? What about their families? Bigfoot is blurry in real life as is. It was never the camera at fault. Dyson purposefully made the cable shorter over time just before announcing the cordless version. My DC01 has a 12 meter flex, my DC14 has a 6.5 meters flex. They purposefully made the flex shorter to be an inconvenience and make people want the cordless version. Memes about the NSA and other spy programs are encouraged by the very agencies spying on us to twist the idea into the absurd and to humanize their agents. I don't have time to type it all out right now, but the entire situation surrounding the construction and operation of DIA, Denver International Airport, is strange, even by non-conspiracist standards. Have fun in the rabbit hole. I did a short write-up about this a few years back. Here it is. Read it if you want. Denver International Airport, secret bunker, giant cult shrine, and potential concentration camp. There are a lot of conspiracy theories revolving around the Denver airport. I'll try to touch on all the ones I know, but forgive me if I miss a few. There's no doubt that there are some odd things about the airport. From the delayed construction to the massive cost to the odd choice of decorations. Opening on the 28th of February, 1995. 16 months behind schedule and at double the cost of the original estimate. $4.8 billion. Denver International Airport is the largest airport in the US by total land area. 33,531 acres. Not long after it opened, wild conspiracy theories began floating around. One major theory is that there is a massive underground bunker that was built for the world's elite in the event of an apocalyptical event. Another is that there is a massive facility underneath that was built to be used as a concentration camp in the future. Some people believe that the reason for the delay in the schedule was due to the construction of said underground bunkers and tunnels. Supposedly, a construction worker claims that they buried 5 multi-story buildings underneath and built the airport on top of it. Aside from the construction theories, there's plenty of things inside the airport that are just plain odd. One thing mentioned often is the large Mustang statue, shown above, outside of the airport, nicknamed Blue Cipher. A large blue horse with red eyes that supposedly represents one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Death, oddly enough. The architect who designed the piece was killed when the horse's head fell on him, severing major arteries and causing what proved to be fatal injuries. Another thing people find odd is a dedication stone inside the airport. One of the first things you notice is the large Freemason symbol in the middle of the stone. Another thing people point to is the date on the stone, the 19th of March, 1994. Which if you add up the numbers 191994, you get 33, which is a significant number in the Freemasons, as I believe it is the highest level you can reach in the organization. The last odd thing about the dedication stone is that it says near the bottom New World Airport Commission contributors. People believe this is reference to the New World Order, which will supposedly be brought on by the Freemasons Illuminati. Also noted by conspiracy theorists are the 4 odd and slightly disturbing murals that are displayed in the airport. Some people believe these murals are packed with Freemason iconography and occult references and even are a telling of the future. TLDR. Denver Airport is a secret occult super bunker and has some really poor taste when it comes to decorations. Haha, only 16 months late? Have you heard about the current delay on the new Berlin airport? This July we'll be 6 years behind schedule and no end in sight. Damn. That's going to be a huge bunker. Miley Cyrus's crazy streak was all a carefully planned marketing scheme to get her solidified as an A-list celebrity. I believe it was done to make Disney completely cut ties with her and kill the image of Hannah Montana. It's worked too. Hannah Montana was quite possibly Disney's largest TV show ever, but I haven't seen anyone even mention it for over 4 years now. And despite Disney cashing in on old IPs, Aladdin, Kim Possible, Lion King, etc., we have yet to even hear an unsubstantiated rumor regarding Hannah Montana. There's a conspiracy theory that Flight 93 was shot down by hastily scrambled jet fighters and or missiles in the interest of public safety, and that the government made up the relatively wholesome "the passengers decided to fight the hijackers and sacrifice themselves" story to keep up morale. I don't know whether it happened or not, but I can entirely believe it might be true. In that situation, that honestly seems like a good move to make. In all likelihood the plane was going to smash into something and kill even more, and the morale boost of the fabricated storyline would certainly sit better with the public. Lord is actually a middle-aged guy named Randy. I've always found it very plausible that Hitler didn't kill himself in the bunker, and instead fled to South America. Let's look at what we know about his death. With Germany on the brink of defeat and Russian forces closing in, Hitler shoots himself in a bunker hours before they arrive. German soldiers then drag the bodies of him, his wife, and his dog into the front yard and burn them beyond recognition. The bodies are positively ID'd by dental records provided by the Nazi Party. Given the fanatical devotion the Nazis has to Hitler, it is extremely possible that they would have been willing to shoot and burn body doubles, and alter the dental records of the corpses to match Hitler and his wife. Meanwhile, Hitler would have been evacuated to a country where he could lay low and take on a new identity. My guess would be Argentina, who fostered multiple high-ranking Nazi officials. I'm not saying he couldn't have also just shot himself in the bunker, but the whole thing always felt fishy. French scientists have recently studied the skull that Russians claim is Hitler's, and they believe the skull is Hitler's, though a study done a few years earlier in the US says it is not Hitler's. The Phantom Cosmonaut Conspiracy. Pretty much, the short story is that Yuri Gagarin is not the first man to go to space but the first one to go and come back alive. It just seems like a USSR thing to do. That your phone's microphone is constantly hot and it's listening for keywords to target advertising. Most glaring instance where this happened to me was when I walked into a colleague's office. He had just gotten a standing desk, but one that goes on top of his existing desk rather than a standalone. Pun? Model. That's important to note. I said nice standing desk. When did you get that? Thanks. Just today, he replied. That was literally all that was said about the desk. We talked about work related stuff, and as I walked out and checked my phone, there was an ad on Facebook for that exact model of standing desk. I have never owned one, wanted one, or googled one before, yet there it was on my feed. Tinfoil hat be damned. They listen in. Israel is run by the Jews. The FBI is using Amazon's Alexa to spy on people. The Vatican holds horrible dark secrets and many answers to existential questions. And that Area 51 is a publicity stunt by the government to hide the real testing facility. That Snowpiercer is the sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. All social media platforms are a direct result of Patriot Act and are used to keep tabs on everyone. Hence the billions of users, with algorithms to keep you addicted to the constant information and the dopamine-inducing likes. The ballistic missile threat that was sent to Hawaiian cell phones saying, "Seek shelter, this is not a drill," that was later deemed a mistake, was a real missile that was intercepted before impact. That Russians are behind the anti-vax movement as a way to thin the herd immunity for the next generation of Americans. Nuclear war is old news. The next big threat will be biological. My conspiracy theory. Facebook purposely attempts to ruin people's relationships because the drama gets more views and more views sell more ads. Several years ago they introduced a feature so that your comments on other pages would show up in your friends' feeds. So if you're secretly an atheist and you comment on some atheist page, it shows up in your devout Southern Baptist grandma Muriel's timeline, even though it's a conversation that has nothing to do with her and there's no reason for it to be. As a result, Facebook outs you to your family, and grandma is typing away at all the evil Satanists trying to corrupt her grandson. And if you comment on a public post, it's unavoidable. You used to be able to control who could see your comments even on public posts by other pages, but at the same time Facebook introduced their tattletale feature. They took that ability away. Now if they were to stumble across the same page they'd be able to see your comment. But after that change, Facebook started pointing everybody you know directly to it. Not to mention, the privacy settings are difficult to find, difficult to understand, and with each passing year gives you less and less control over who sees what. By forcibly combining everybody's social circles, Facebook is trying to generate conflict. They want to generate conflict because the conflict happens on Facebook, which means people logging onto Facebook more often and seeing more ads. They're essentially an internet tabloid, except instead of showcasing the personal drama of celebrities for clicks and sales, they're doing it to you instead. Ever notice how the vast majority of family drama, relationship fights, etc. these days happens on Facebook? That's by design. Facebook is literally destroying the social fabric to make a buck, consuming relationship stability like it's an oil refinery consuming crude. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.